Peter Fisher, and welcome to a new section of question and answers based on the MySQL Console tutorials. Today I'm going to focus on a question that was sent in quite some time ago by a Praveen Kadam. I do apologize if I've mispronounced your name, Praveen. So he asks how to delete data from a table and then insert data back into the table when you don't know the column headers. And then he goes on to ask how to change a field's data type from double to decimal. So there's a couple of questions here. Today I'm going to focus on how to delete data from a table when you're unsure of the column headers. The question regarding how to insert data into the table when you don't know the column headers, you can't really do that, unfortunately, because you need to know what the column headers are in order to associate the values to the fields in the table schema. The question about the changing of the double to the decimal kind of warrants its own explanation, so I'm going to focus on that later on. So today I'm going to deal with how to delete data from a table when you don't know the column headers. Okay, so we're in the MySQL console right now. I've created a temp table and I've added some dummy data in there to play with. So let's just show the tables. Oops, tables with an S. And yes, so we've added the temp table in here, and I'll just do a quick select all from temp, and we can see that there's 5 records in this MySQL table. So the usual way of deleting data from a table would be to describe the table to get the table schema, and then from that work out which field is represented of the primary key, and then delete the record or records using the primary key. Of course, you can delete the records using any other value, such as the total here. You could delete records that have the total of 2.5. However, you're not going to guarantee that you're only going to pluck out the records that you really want to delete, because there could be other records that have that value. Using the primary key, if I was to just describe the table, temp, that's it. So using the primary key, which you can see here represented by the key column, the PRI value here, using the primary key, you're kind of guaranteeing that you're isolating that record to be removed, because it's got the extra setting of auto increment. Every new record that gets added to that table has its own unique value. The value gets incremented each time it gets added, and therefore you can isolate which record you wish to be removed, or records. So I'll just quickly show you the usual way. So let's delete from temp, and then you would give a where clause, so where ID, so that's the primary key, is equal to 4. So that's going to delete the record that has the primary key of 4. So let's run that, and we can see that one row has been affected. And then let's select all from temp, and yes, so the 4th record here has been removed. But the question really was how to do this when you're unsure of the column headers. Now there are 2 ways to do this. However, both ways will remove all the data in that table, and they'll also do different things to the table, which I'll demonstrate now. So let's just clear that down. So the first method I'll show you is how to delete from the temp table. So that's deleting from the temp table. Because I haven't specified a where clause, it's going to remove every record from that table. So let's execute that, and we can see that 4 rows have been affected, which means that 4 rows were altered by this query and also deleted because it was a delete routine. So let's just quickly run a select. So that will return an empty set, so there's no records in that table anymore. Now the downside to doing it this way is that we don't reset the auto increment setting of the primary key. if we, for instance, if we describe the temp table, we can see that the ID here has an extra setting of auto increment. Now, as I've described before, this means that for every new value that gets added to the table, the ID value will be incremented. So the last one we added was 5, so the next one will be 6, and then after that will be 7, and so forth. Now this is stored in the MySQL memory, and even though we've gone and deleted all of the records, it's still got the last inserted ID in memory. So the next time we insert something into this table, it will have the next incremented ID value. So I'll just demonstrate that now. Let's let's clear that down. I'm going to do a reverse search because I did this earlier. So insert into temp. So we're inserting these 5 records into the temporary table. We're not specifying the ID field here, so it will be using that extra setting to get its incremented value. So let's run that. So that's added 5 records into the table. Let's clear that down and then run select all from temp. So this is what I mean. The ID here is 6, whereas before it was obviously 1. And I will just quickly show that again. Let's delete from temp. So remember the last one here is 10, and then we insert those 5 records again. I'm going to clear that down and then select, and we can see that we're starting from 11. Now the alternative way to do this is to truncate the table. Now what truncate does is it removes all the values in all the records, in the table, as well as resetting the auto increment extra setting. So to do that, we do truncate, and then we give the temp table name. Okay, so even though it says 0 rows have been affected, the query did run okay. So let's select all from temp, and we can see that it's definitely empty. And then let's insert those back in. And then I'll clear the screen and then select from temp, and we can see that the ID has been reset back to 1. Okay, so that's the 2 ways to delete records from a table when you're unsure of the column headers. Thank you for watching. Please click the like button if you found it useful, and make sure to subscribe to get the next tutorial. If you have any comments, questions or queries, then please leave them in the comments section below. Alternatively, you can tweet them to my Twitter handle, which is PFWD. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.